Hi guys, I hope you're well. It's another Sunday morning in the workshop, and this week I've not really got a big project on. Well, it's one of those transitional periods between work just finished and work just starting. The last couple of weeks I made the panel doors and also made the potting up tree. Having a bit of a tidy up. I've not had a tidy up in here for a while. Also getting ready to go over to workshop 2 for the first time this year. In fact, by the time you probably watch this, I've probably been and come back. Got a couple of little projects to bring you from over there, and then I've got the huge project, which is the new terrace that I'm building, which is probably won't even get finished this year. It's such a big project and I only get to have a few days at it. So yeah, I'm just pondering workshop life at the moment. Got an hour up here or so there's a couple of little jobs I've been meaning to do for a while. I've got a piece of melamine face chipboard there, which if you remember at the beginning of the year I had to rebuild the new kitchen cabinets. Well, I have half a sheet left. I'm hoping it's big enough to make a back for this bench to stop all the dust coming in. Every time I pull my table saw up to this bench to cut, I end up filling the tool storage underneath full of sawdust, so hopefully that will help with that. It also means it's one less thing to stop moving around every time I need to do something. I'm also going to amalgamate all my router cutters. Last summer when I went to Screwfix, I bought one of these that was on offer, and I've put a few router cutters in, but I keep finding some here and there, so I'm going to round them all up and put them in there. Also, I'm going to put an hole in the front of the drawer, because the drawers I have here under the bench, which to be fair weren't really made as drawers, but that's how they've ended up being, I've not got any holes in the front, so every time I open them it's a real pain. So I'm just going to drill an hole and router an hole in the front, so we'll do that in a minute. Just contemplating, I'm not doing today, but maybe you guys can actually help me here. Over the last few years as I've bought things, at some point everything's been stood on the floor. Now last summer I made the trolley for the bandsaw and the Triton sander. The bandsaw was stood on the floor for a few months before I made that. Before that, the table saw was stood on the floor and I made a cart for that. The last thing I want to do is make something for my Triton planer, the latest tool to be stood on the floor. I can't decide how to make it. I don't know whether just to make a little bench and put it inside. I don't know whether to make a low bench and put it on top, or I don't know whether to make a bench that has the planer underneath and I can lift the lid off the bench, or the top off the bench, to get easier access to the winding mechanism on the top of the Triton planer. Or I don't know whether to make it fixed like the drawers are between these truss rafters and have it on a slide out mechanism, pull it out, use it, push it back in again. So let's just wheel this bench out of the way and you can have a look. I'll show you my plan. At the moment it's down here on the floor, so every time I use it I either just pull it out into the middle of the floor, use it, put it back, or I sometimes pick it up and just put it on top of the bench. So I can't decide whether just to make a little low level cart to sort of raise this up to sort of yay height, and then I can just push it back in here or any other nook when I'm not using it. I don't know whether to put a top on it. Problem with having the top on it is, problems with having the top on it, it sort of impedes the handle. So I don't know whether to have a top on it or a top that lifts off, or I don't even know whether to make it almost like inside a big drawer. Fix it in here so I can just pull it out, use it and push it back again. If you have any genius ideas then just let me know, because I'm kind of stuck to what to do with this one. Please drop me a comment. Just to sort my router cutters out. Right, so in here I've got some of my recently bought cutters. So I've got one here I've not used yet. I bought this for a specific project that will be coming your way over the maybe June, July time. This was a Christmas present from the mother-in-law when I went over to Axminster Tools last year. She gave me some money to spend and that's what I bought. And then I've got some, in fact, that's got a few chips in it. That's what I bought when I made my staircase in Workshop 2 a few years ago. That's the cutter I bought when I made the table routers to cut the T-slots. I also put one of them in the front of the fold-down bench. That's a strike flute round, that's an upcut. She bought that as well, that's how I use that to make the bullnose. Right. Got an 1/2 inch flush cutter with a top bearing. And I've got a flush trim cutter with a top bearing. That's the bottom bearing, that's the top bearing. Or is it the other way around? That's the little monkey I was looking for. That is a biscuit cutter. Cutters already in there. That's the big Bertha panel cutter. That's the rebate cutter. They're the other set of panel cutters. And then in here I've got another set of panel cutters, which as yet has gone unused. When I made these boxes, then I put these little frames in between the trusses. I made them double depth, but for some reason the top ones I didn't put a hole in, so I've no pull on them. So I'm going to put the holes in today. Easy job. It's annoyed me for about a year that there's no finger pulls on them, so let's just put some holes in and let's tidy them out whilst we're at it. Got a couple of saws, got my old Warrington hammer, got a couple of Craig jigs. Actually I think that's the jeg. That's the Craig rip-off version. Got my little pin hammer that my wife lovingly engraved for me. Coping saw, an old square, which isn't very square because it's loose. Mortise chisel, that's a relatively new purchase. Marking gauge, two biggest chisels, Stanley knife blades, jeweler's screwdrivers. This was a bargain, bought that from eBay. I paid about £33 for that. More chisels, a really old chisel I've used for filler. I should sharpen that up. It's one of the old Marples chisels. It's my favourite colour of chisel. I wonder why that is. There, that's done. You wouldn't believe how many times I've cursed because I couldn't get in that drawer. Last job then, let's fit this back panel. You had some more router bits somewhere. Someone sent me a comment the other day asking me which countersink and drill bit I was using. It's a trend one. It's good, I like it. Someone else also asked me what version of the Festool Tracksaw I bought. It's this one. Oh, right then, that's it. So I've only drunk half a cup of tea, although the half that's left is full of sawdust. So yeah, that was a little bit of a different video from usual. Next time I promise I'll be back making something rather than just pottering about. Hope you enjoyed it, for a change. If you did enjoy it, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you've not already done so. And I shall see you soon. Bye. Right, I better sort these routers out.